Namaste and a very good evening to all of you. I welcome you to my channel, The Outlier. My name is Mithun. In today's video, I'll be demonstrating how to import a CSV file into Power BI using the M language. Even before I proceed to demonstrate how to write the M code, which will pull the CSV file into Power BI, may I request you to subscribe to my channel, also like and share my videos. Let me first begin by showing the file which I want to import. As you can see here, the name of the file is customer data. This is a CSV file. When I say CSV, CSV stands for comma separated values. As the name itself suggests, the delimiter that we use is a comma. You can clearly see here, there is a comma which separates two variables. For example, age and marital status is separated by a comma. Similarly, between marital status and address, we have a comma. And between address and income, again, we have a comma. So this trend continues for all the variables. When we are importing a CSV file into Power BI, we need to be very careful. We need to ask ourselves two important questions. The first question is, what is the delimiter that separates two variables? The second question is, in the first row, what kind of information do we have? What is the delimiter that separates two variables? And the second question is, what kind of information do we have in the first row? Clearly, when you answer the first question, it is a comma which acts like a delimiter that separates two variables. So as far as the delimiter here is concerned, it is a comma. The second question, insofar as the first row, what we have is we have the header or the field names. These two things become very important when we are importing any file into Power BI. With this background information, let me now proceed to show how we can pull this file into Power BI desktop by writing a simple M code. M, remember, stands for mashup language. Let me show you the folder in which I have saved this particular file. You can see here, the name of the file is customer data, and it is in a folder which is called as personal. My apologies. It is in desktop. Within desktop, there is a folder that I've created called as training. Within this, there's a subfolder which is called as data. So we will need this particular information when we are importing any particular file into Power BI. Now, let me proceed to Power BI interface. So this is the interface of Power BI. Let me show you the field section. Since I have not loaded any file, Power BI displays a message which says you haven't loaded any data. To write the M code, what we need to do is we need to open the Power Query Editor. How do we open up the Power Query Editor? To open up the Power Query Editor, let me draw your attention to the Get Data option. When I hover the mouse on top of the Get Data option, there is a simple message that Power BI displays. It says, connect to data from multiple sources. I'll go ahead and click on this particular option. Here, you can see an option which is called as blank query. This is useful when you want to write a query from the scratch. Let me go ahead and click on the option blank query. The moment I click on blank query, this leads to a new window which is called as the Power Query Editor window. You can see here, this is the page which is called as Power Query Editor window. This acts like a launchpad from where I can fire open an advanced query editor. How do I open up the advanced query editor? You can see here, there is a menu bar which is called as View menu. I have clicked on the View option. And under the View option, when you look at the ribbon, there is an item which is called as advanced editor. What does this do? We can open the advanced query editing dialog to view or modify the entire text for this query. Let me go ahead and hit the advanced query button. Now, what has happened now is that it has opened up a new window, which is called as the advanced editor window. The default name for this window is the query 2, which we can always go ahead and change. In every M code, what you will see is two statements. The first part is the let block, which is used to declare variable names. And once you declare the variable names and create these variables, in the next part, namely the in statement, you can display the variable names. By default, you can see there's a variable called as source, which is created, and the name of that variable is displayed in the in section. Now, I will not be using any of these things. Let me go ahead and start with a clean slate. So this is where we will be writing our M function to import the CSV file. The command that we will be using is what is called as Csv.Document. Csv.Document. Please remember that Csv.Document is case sensitive. Why do we need the CSV document? The answer is very simple. Csv.Document helps me import the CSV file as a table object. I can go ahead and open up the parenthesis here. You can see here, the advanced editor displays a short message. It says this returns the contents of the CSV document as a table, which is what I want to do. I want to return the contents of the CSV document as a table here. Once we have written the CSV document, this function, remember, supports many parameters, but I will be using another function which is called as File.Contents. I can simply type File.Contents here. So this is the File.Contents. You may ask me, what is the use of File.Contents? This helps me identify the source data. This returns the contents of the specified file. So I've specified the CSV.Document within which I have written File.Contents. Let me go ahead and open the parenthesis. Here, I'll be using the double quotes. Inside the double quotes, I'll have to specify the location of the file. Your file may be in C drive or D drive. It can be in any location. You'll have to specify the address of the source file along with the name and the extension of the file. Let me go to the desktop wherein I have saved the file. This is the file that I want to import. I'm going to right click, go to the option Properties. Here you can see under the location section, it displays the path of the file which I'm interested in. C drive, users, Mithun, OneDrive, desktop, training data. I can simply right click and say copy. I'm just going to say right click once again to make sure that this has been copied properly and hit the copy option. Let me come back to the Power Query Editor window. Here, I'm going to paste the location of the file. You can see here, the location has been pasted only till the folder, namely data. We have not yet specified the name of the file. So let me again go back to this particular folder, right click and say Properties. The name of the file is customer data. Right click and copy the name. This time I'm copying the name. Earlier, I copied the location. Remember, the extension .csv. This is the extension that we have to specify. Otherwise, your file will not be imported. Let me click on cancel. Move on to the query editor. Paste the name of the file along with the extension, which is .csv. So we have done 90% of the work here by specifying the location of the file. Now, the rest of the things are pretty simple. I can put a comma here. After the comma, I'm expected to specify what is the delimiter. Now, to specify the delimiter, let me open a square bracket. Here, I will be using the command delimiter. What is the delimiter? The delimiter in our case is a comma. Sometimes you can have space or you can have a tab delimited file. You can specify the delimiter accordingly. So the comma delimiter has been specified within the double quotes, and outside the double quotes, I can go ahead and put a comma once again. Here, the next option that I will be specifying is encoding option. I'll have to specify the encoding option as 1252. Don't worry too much about the encoding option. Now, when we specify encoding, this is nothing but an option which specifies the text encoding type. I repeat, encoding option specifies the text encoding type. The value of 1252, this is basically the Windows Western European code page. So once you have done this, we are good to import this particular file, except for the fact that I have not specified the let statement. There are a couple of things which I need to do to modify this particular query. First thing is, when you import this particular file, you need to provide a container so that the table will be dumped there. What is the name of the container? The name of the container is cust data. So what Power BI does is it will pull this particular file, namely customer data, which is a CSV file. It will read this as a delimiter and dump the file into customer data, cust data. So this is the object in which the file customer data will live. But hang on, there are a couple of modifications that I need to make. Any code that you write in the M language will begin under the let statement. So this is very, very important. All the three letters must be in small letters. So under the let block, I have specified the function Csv.Document. Inside this, I've specified one more function, namely File.Contents, specified the location as well as the delimiter. Is this good? This is definitely good, but it is not good enough. Let me go to line number 3. In line number 3, the second important statement, which is the in statement, will be specified. Let me change this. It is a simple in function. The let statement allows you to declare the variable names. I've declared the variable name cust data. If you want to print the contents of cust data under the in section, you can simply specify cust data. You can see here, it is very, very case sensitive. So make sure that whatever case is used while declaring the variable name, the same case has to be used while specifying the file name or the object name under the in statement. So to summarize the discussion that we have had, there are two parts. One is the let statement. Within let statement, we can specify Csv.Document, which will help me pull the file. Further, I've created the name where the file will live. In line number 3, I want to display the contents of customer data. So I'm specifying the in block followed by the name of the object. So far, it looks good. You can see here there's a message which says no syntax errors have been detected. So big thumbs up. It looks good for us to go ahead and pull the file. Let me make sure that the source file is closed, because many times if the source file is open, sometimes you may get errors. Once you're happy with the syntax, you can go ahead and hit the done button here at the right hand side bottom corner. You can clearly see here the names. In fact, the file has been pulled successfully. What this is giving you is the preview of the downloaded file. You can see here at the right hand side bottom corner, this is generating the preview. There are a couple of observations that you need to make. Firstly, when you look at the column heading, Power BI is displaying the column heading as column 1, column 2, column 3. This is the first problem that we have, because we don't want column 1, column 2, and column 3. That is not the header that I had. In fact, the correct header that I had was, for the first column, it is age, second column, it is marital status, and the third column would be address, so on and so forth. So what I need to do is, I need to promote or push up the column headers which are currently located in first row, and I have to instruct Power BI to treat this as the column name. This is not the data, this is the column name. So in the next step, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to modify the earlier code wherein I'm going to instruct through M language saying, please treat age, marital status, address as the column heading. So how do we do that? To do this, let me again open up the advanced query window. So this is the earlier code that I had written. I'm right now in line number 2. Remember, when you move on to a new line, we have to be slightly careful. Sometimes people forget to put a comma here. A comma implies that we have ended the statement in the second line. It implies end of statement as far as line 2 is concerned. Now, what do I need to do? I need to specify a command which is called as Table.PromoteHeaders. You can see here, Table.PromoteHeaders. So this is the one which I need to select. I like to again remind you that each of the words is in caps. CSV begins with caps. In the word document, D is in caps. Similarly, for file here, F is in caps. For contents, C is in caps. The same principle works in line number 3, Table.PromoteHeaders. As the name itself implies, I'm promoting the headers, and I'm going to say that please treat this as the column heading. T here is the column heading. Again, the word promoters. I'll say this again. In the word table, the letter T must be in caps. When you're using the word promote headers, P and H again must be in caps. I can go ahead and put parenthesis. Now, as the input, what I'm going to choose is, I can specify customer data and feed this within the parenthesis. You can see here, there is a message which says token equal expected. Token equal expected. What I'm going to do at this stage is, this command Table.PromoteHeaders, as the name itself suggests, will treat the first row as the column heading. Let me put an equal to, and I'm going to call this as cust data 1. This is nothing but cust data 1. Now, after the in block, what you're seeing is cust data. This is pointing to the original file. As you can see, I have made some changes. So the new file is, the new variable name is cust data 1. So this is what we need to specify. It is cust data 1. There are no syntax errors that have been detected. Let me go ahead and hit the done button. Now, this is exactly what I wanted. We have age here, we have marital status, we have address, we have income, we have other variables as well. All of these variables have been promoted, and these variables now will be treated as the column heading. In the second row onwards, for each customer, we have his demographic details. How do we interpret this particular? In fact, for the very first record, my apologies, in the very first record, we have the first customer's information. There is the first customer, his age is 55 years, marital status value is 1, which means that he's married. The number of years that he is present to the that he has lived in the current location is 12 years, income is 72 units, income category is 3, so on and so forth. If you want, you can go ahead and open the original file. I'd like to open this as an Excel sheet. You can see here, age, marital, address, income. This was the column heading. And from row number 2, we have the first customer's details, 55 years, 1, 12, so on and so forth, which is what is being displayed here. In case you want to change the query, you can go ahead and change this. Currently, the file has been loaded. How do you know this? You can just go to home. In fact, the file will be loaded once you go ahead and hit this particular button, close and apply. So the changes that you have made will be applied. Let me quickly go to close and apply. This will give me 3 options, close and apply. This is the first option. I can choose the very first option here. You can see here, this is loading the file. In a few moments, Power BI will successfully load the customer data under the field section. You have the field section. Query 1, we were able to import name and value. Look at query 2. This is the right file that you will be needing. So this has the names of all the variables which you have successfully imported. Query 1 was just the intermediate query which you used. So this is how we can use the M language to import any file into Power BI environment. Remember, we have specified Csv.Document function. Further, we went on to specify File.Contents. Then we specified the location of the file. We had to specify the delimiter as comma, and under the encoding option, we are writing the number 1252. This is the first thing that we did. And as the second statement, we use the command Table.PromoteHeaders. Within this, we fed the earlier file, which is customer data, and we created a new object called as customer1. Then under the in block, we could specify the name of the file. With this, I have come to the end of today's video. In today's video, what we have seen is how to import a file. We have successfully imported